Welcome to our CFP exam prep discussion, focusing on a crucial investment concept that often appears on the exam: the distinction between systematic and unsystematic risk. Many candidates struggle with these concepts, so let's break them down in a way that will stick with you. Systematic risk, also known as market risk or undiversifiable risk, affects the entire market and cannot be eliminated through diversification. Think of systematic risk as a rising tide that lifts or lowers all boats. Common examples include interest rate changes, inflation, recessions, and political events. When the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it impacts virtually all securities in the market. During the COVID-19 pandemic, nearly every sector experienced significant market impact, perfectly illustrating systematic risk. On the other hand, unsystematic risk is specific to individual companies or industries and can be reduced through proper diversification. This includes factors like management changes, labor strikes, regulatory changes, or shifts in consumer preferences. For instance, when a pharmaceutical company's new drug fails FDA approval, that negative impact is largely confined to that company and perhaps its immediate competitors. A frequent mistake test takers make is confusing the impact of diversification on these two types of risk. Remember this key point: no matter how many different stocks you add to your portfolio, you cannot eliminate systematic risk. However, you can significantly reduce unsystematic risk through diversification. Research suggests that a well-diversified portfolio of about 30 stocks can eliminate up to 90% of unsystematic risk. Here's a practical example that often appears in exam questions. Consider an investor holding only technology stocks. If a major cybersecurity breach affects one company, that's unsystematic risk. However, if a global semiconductor shortage impacts the entire tech sector, that's systematic risk. The first scenario could be mitigated by diversifying into other sectors, while the second affects the broader market regardless of diversification. Another common exam trap involves beta measurements. Beta measures systematic risk, not total risk. When you see a question about beta, remember it's specifically addressing a security's sensitivity to market-wide movements. A beta of 1.5 means the security is 50% more volatile than the market in response to systematic factors, not company-specific events. Test questions might also explore the relationship between risk types and required returns. Investors are only compensated for bearing systematic risk because unsystematic risk can be diversified away. This concept frequently appears in questions about the capital asset pricing model. To solidify your understanding for the exam, think of systematic risk as unavoidable background music playing in a concert hall. It affects everyone in the venue. Unsystematic risk is like individual musicians making mistakes. It only affects specific sections and can be balanced out by having more performers. Remember these distinctions when answering exam questions. If a question asks about risk that can be eliminated through diversification, it's referring to unsystematic risk. If it mentions market-wide factors or undiversifiable risk, you're dealing with systematic risk. Pay attention to keywords like firm-specific, industry-specific, or market-wide, as they often signal which type of risk is being discussed.